So this is the story of my daughter Kaliyah, aka Onyx, and how she was diagnosed with anti-NMDA Receptor Encephalitis this year. This was her after her graduation dinner last year from high school. She got a lot of stuff for college and was so excited. Here she is walking after graduation. Own it, boo. She took over that day. And there she is at Clark Atlanta University when she was being initiated into or inaugurated into the school, whatever it's called. Fast forward to February of this year. She came home one night on a Friday for the weekend, and within 30 minutes, baby girl was having such a manic episode, screaming of pain and a bunch of other stuff, and it was a lot going on. It was scary, so rushed her to the emergency room. Long story short, they had my baby in 4 different hospitals within 7 days, and within 6 days, rather. One of those hospitals even being a mental health facility without testing her or anything, touching her, palpating her, talking to her. She was asleep, so they couldn't. They ended up putting a hold on her and sending her to a mental health facility. Never had any kind of history of anything like that before, but this was their immediate diagnosis without even treating her or triaging her at all. She was stuck in a mental health facility for 2 days. My heart was broken all that weekend, and I cried. That Monday morning, I got called because she was having seizures. Never had a seizure before in her life. Rushed to the next hospital that they took her to, the 3rd hospital now. And this is after 3 whole days. She was in the 3rd hospital after 3 days. At that hospital, they did start doing tests. They tried to see what was going on, CAT scans, MRIs, other testing, spinal tap. She kept having seizures. So they ended up putting her on a breathing tube and putting her in the ICU on her 4th day at this hospital. I'm breaking down bad. I can't even begin to tell you how hard this was. It's my baby. So they put her on a breathing tube. She was there for 1 night on the breathing tube in ICU at this 3rd hospital, and because they didn't have a neuro team inside the hospital and they had to basically outsource through video, they decided to transport her to that 4th hospital. Was her saving grace, let me tell you. She was transported to Scottish Rite Children's Hospital here in Atlanta. I was actually at the hospital when I was 15 when the Olympics were here, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, she was transferred to Scottish Rite. She stayed in the ICU for 30 days on the breathing tube, and then they started having therapists work with her, like occupational and physical therapy. She wasn't quite ready at all for speech. Those 30 days were really hard as I watched her go up and down and fight. This girl is a fighter. And when I tell you she named herself Onyx when she was in high school, it fits because Onyx means strength and endurance. And my baby is as strong and as enduring as they come. After those 30 days in the ICU, she basically graduated. She was getting better. And they sent her up to the 3rd floor, 4th floor, whatever floor it was. She was on the rehab floor, the in-hospital rehab floor. We were there for 3 months. And when I say we, it's because I lived in the hospital with my daughter for every day of those 4 months that she was there. I lived in the hospital with her day in, day out. I slept there. I woke up there. I helped. I did whatever I could. I took care of her. I refused to leave her side. I refused to. She continued to get stronger. She continued to get better. She started making movements to where she was able to start walking again, start talking again, start eating again, slowly but surely. It took a lot to get to that. But when I tell you to watch all that this girl went through, I have a story to tell. When I tell you I've been in prison, we all have things we've been through in life. We've all gone through struggles. But even despite me telling y'all I've been down the road and I've gone through some of the most heinous shit in life we all go through shit. This had to be the most extreme, hardest thing that I have ever experienced in my whole entire life. Was being helpless watching my daughter go through this. There were days that her dad had to basically drag me out of the room, in her ICU room, because her heart rate was dropping so low. The nurses and doctors were running from both ends of the hallways for her. There are lights above the rooms, and there are certain different beeps that you hear when there's a heart monitor that's going off because the heart rate is too low, or a respiration monitor going off because the breathing is too shallow. You talk about fear, but when I say God had his hand on my baby, our beautiful ancestors that have left us before were surrounding her. Her angels were protecting her. My daughter graduated and got to rehab. She started doing so much better. It was most definitely a struggle, I will tell you that. But I started to watch her come back. Like, we sit here playing with stuffed animals here, making them dance. That was fun. I was starting to really enjoy watching my baby find herself again. She's a singer. She was singing right here. She kept singing, "Oh, Jenna, oh, Jenna, oh, Jenna." We don't know who the hell Jenna is to this day, but it had her at peace in that moment. If you're unfamiliar with what anti-NMDA receptor encephalitis is, there are neurotransmitters in your brain that make everything you want to say and do happen. When you want to pick up that fork to eat, when you want to turn around and say something to somebody and tell them you love them, or if you want to cuss them out, it don't matter. When you want to walk across the room, when you want to be able to just take care of yourself and function, all of that shuts down. Those receptors shut my baby's body down to the point where she had to learn all of those things all over again as though she was a baby. Look at her here. From not walking, not talking, not eating, on a breathing tube, to walking around the rehab floor, to rolling herself around. And she's doing so much better now. They say it takes 6 months to 2 years to get back to your baseline of where you were before you went through all of this. I'll say Kaliyah is at about 90% right now. And from the research I've done from the day that this started and I was told about her diagnosis, she is a walking miracle. It's hard for me to do this video, but I have to share this awareness because since I shared her page, Onyx's journey, on Instagram with other people who have this, I've had so many mothers, family members reach out to me from other countries even to just share their stories. So I just wanted to share hers. And now I got to end this because y'all don't know how hard it was for me to hold back every tear. I thank you, God, for her every day. Let me go give her a kiss while she's sleeping.